How about James?
James. James was my New Year's Eve baby, but he was born in the morning, not in the evening. And he was an easy, I don't think he had colic a lot. He may have been allergic to some kinds of things, I don't know. The one thing that I remember is after he was born, not too long after, they noticed that he had nystagmus, where his eyes move back and forth, and it's benign. It's not anything, but it made it hard for him to be able to focus. He'd have to pull his eyes way over here to stretch those muscles to focus. And so we had him tighten some of the muscles on one side and leave him on the other side so that he would be able to. He also tried so hard to walk. And he would get up and walk. He would have been an early walker, but he did not have, he had what you call then was, what is it called?
Like a walker? What do you mean?
I mean, he couldn't walk, he had to learn to balance because he did not have control.
Like core strength?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. He did not have that. He would walk until he, but he had to keep walking until he found something that he walked into. he couldn't, he couldn't stop and balance.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a, I don't know, that kind of an issue is with his balance. And then he had the eyes and the nystagmus. And when he got older, they did um, tell him, that he could have the surgery, and we had that done. He also broke his nose one time, so he has had nose. And apparently, when he was going under surgery to have his nose fixed and stuff like that, he was very combative when he came out of that. That's his little James. They were, all of a sudden, I heard them in the room saying something about some number that they call when they are having problems in one of the rooms, and he was coming out of his anesthesia and he didn't know where he was. And so he was very kind of combative, kind of thing, till he figured out what had happened, and then he did. But he was also my child, James, who wanted to do everything right. I didn't know at that time that he had OCD. I learned that actually after his mission. I mean, they tried to put him on some different kind of medication until we got finally diagnosed what he really has. And he says, and I don't really like the medication, but I love the therapy that went with it, the the mental kind of therapy that kind of gets you through that. So he uses it. He knows how to work himself out of that. And he as a little kid, he would go up to a counter and pay for everything because he just loved to do that. And he would go up and pay for it, and the other kids wouldn't even go up to the counter or ask, but he would. And he would do that. I don't know at what point he got OCD and social anxiety. I'm not sure where that came in because I didn't understand it as much then. And I look back now and I have some regrets, but I wish I did done things better. I went swimming therapy with him we did a lot of different types of therapy to help him build that strong. They did a lot of, putting him on a ball or something and then moving the ball and him having to learn to center and catch his balance and stuff like that. And that helped him a lot. So he did that, but he liked to do everything right. If we were having family home meeting, he wanted to know who was giving the prayer. This is what he would do. He would write down a list. Who's going to do the prayer? Who's going to do the refreshments? Who's going to pick the songs? Those kind of things that we did as a family. And then we do a family meeting, which is called Family Home Evening now. And he was very serious about that job. And he would stand up. If you remember our Kent house down in the basement, there's that fireplace hearth. He'd stand up there like a pro and announce what things were going to happen for his meeting that he had. Who was going to give the spiritual thought? Who was going to, be assigned to the refreshments or whatever, that kind of stuff. Do that kind of thing. And then I don't even remember what we did after that. We just mostly had fun. Just because we were following the rules, and James wanted to follow the rules. So he was really good that way.